Thanks for the support as a channel member, Sean Pringle. Oh, folks, normally I do like a standalone video at the end of the year, just thanking you for support over the course of the year, letting you know how the channel is going, all that kind of thing. I haven't done it this year, just haven't had time to do it. So thought I'd do it as part of this intro. Thank you very much for your support during 2022. This is the last video of the year, hence I'm doing it now. We've averaged over 1 million views a month. Again, it's the second time we've done that. This is a Football Manager channel. That's bonkers. Thank you for the support. Glad you're still enjoying the content. And I've celebrated by getting us all a present, an 18-year-old Argentinian. Hello and welcome to Club 2, Part 11 of Non-League to Legend. I'm Kevin. Coming up on today's episode, we have 2 home games for you in the Championship. We're at home against Luton and Huddersfield. Since you were last with me, we have eventually put together a nice little run of form. We definitely had this little bit of a wobble that we talked about on yesterday's episode, but we are beyond the wobble now. Deshaun Bernard is scoring goals for fun. Worryingly, he's our top scorer in January, which is something that might need to be addressed at some point. But Danny Hudson did leave. He went to Everton as part of that big money deal. He has returned. I say he's returned. I think they've sent back a different guy, because this guy, who, he was good. We managed to sell him for nearly £9 million. But he did only get 2 goals in 18 appearances and averaged a 7.07. They've sent us in a Danny Hudson costume 2 starts, 1 goal, 1 assist, a man of the match, and a 7.65 average. He's going to be starting up front for us today because Adam Ida's stopped scoring. I don't know if he's sulking because he didn't get to go to Lazio or what. They never came in for a bid for him. There's actually nobody interested in Adam Ida at the moment, and he is starting to look less like the 30-goal-a-season striker we thought we had, and maybe just a standard 20-goal-a-season striker, which might struggle to make the step up to the Premier League. And the Premier League is definitely where we're headed. I say definitely. Hopefully where we're headed. We are still top of the league. 15 games to go. 7 points clear of third place Norwich. Things are looking good. And we have done some more transfers in January as part of that. So, of course, confirmation that we did sell Danny Hudson. We didn't sell anybody else. There was a few of the youngsters that went out on loan, but we did get the Hudson money to reinvest. Not as much as I thought we would. We were on 85% transfer revenue retained, and they only gave me just under £4 million of an £8.75 million fee. Not quite sure how the maths works there, but I'm sure the club are happy taking their cut. So, of course, the first thing that happened was Danny Hudson was immediately loaned back till the end of the season. We're not having to pay any of his salary, which is very pleasant. He's not actually on a particularly big salary at Everton. I don't think it's outside the realms of possibility that that lad comes back permanently at some point. I'm not sure he'll get the job done at Everton. We shall see. We'll monitor him again in the summer. But I mentioned an 18-year-old Argentinian, and we have not disappointed. Ezequiel Carrasco is where the bulk of the Hudson money has gone. I say the bulk of the money, £1.2 million. We still have some left in the bank. He's an 18-year-old Argentinian under-23 international with 2.5 stars of current ability, 5-star potential. He is a very classy central midfielder / holding midfield player. I know there'll be questions. I assure you, this guy came up on my scout reports. I would not touch the player search screen. I have no interest in touching the player search screen. I know there'll be some of you who doubt it because, frankly, I'm a little bit surprised that we had a Boca Juniors reserve player show up on our scout report. I don't actually fiddle with the scouting, so I'm not... There you go. We've got world scouting range. That's why I don't fiddle with this. I just leave the game to do its own scouting. There's your confirmation of that. And clearly, my scouts have decided it's in our best interests to go and check out Boca Juniors reserves, which I don't even know where to look. Like I say, I don't look at the scouting stuff. It makes no sense, does it? World knowledge. Which one's Argentina? That's Brazil, isn't it? Is that Argentina? I think that's Argent. So we have got a little bit of Argentinian knowledge. I don't know how he showed up. He did show up, though, and I'm very glad he did because he's going to be a superstar, at least a Preston North End level superstar. He's already a very classy boy, 6'2", nice and physical, and he'll be part of our central midfield for a long time to come. I'm less upset at losing Danny Hudson, knowing that we got Ezequiel Carrasco and kept Darlington and Ida and the other youngsters that we've got knocking around the place. And then we also went and spent £500,000 on a new left-back, Thierry Small, 22-year-old, England former under-19 international. Not as much potential as my scouts led me to believe he has. He was scouted as 5-star potential, but comes in with some decent value. And we are a little bit light at left-back. Obviously, we've got Owen Beck. But Owen Beck, I mean, he's fine, but he's obviously not going to be able to make the step up to the Premier League. Thierry Small might be able to. We've still got Moritz Schaefer knocking around the place as well, who I'd love to sign permanently. In fact, I have put in inquiries to all of our loans to see if there's any chance of bringing any of them in permanently. Apparently, Harvey White can play left back. I mean, I don't think I would, but that was it. We've still got money to spend. £2 million sat there, and we will probably look to get it spent before the end of the season. Try and bring in a couple more youngsters, just to get a head start on the summer more than anything. If we can find more players like Carrasco, we would be silly not to. And this is the team for the Luton match. We've got Nichols in goal. By the way, we were very close to signing a new striker and a new goalkeeper. Deadline day deals for Joe Gelhardt and James Trafford both fell through as they went to other clubs. So that was a little bit upsetting. I think there would have been nice little cherries on top of the cake. It is a delicious football team at the moment, but we are still with Nichols in goal. A back four of Beck, Bernard, Story and Darlington. Whiteman at the base of the midfield, Buonanotte and Roach ahead of him, and then Woodburn on the left, Alejandro on the right. And as mentioned, Danny Hudson is going to start up front because Adam Ida's just had enough, it seems. He just doesn't score goals anymore. So we need to show... I think he is suffering from not having any competition. That's why we wanted to bring Gelhardt in, but he went to Forest, I think, and there just wasn't anyone else in the like £2 to £3 million price range who I actually felt would be decent competition for Ida, whilst also being able to play in some other positions as well, because obviously the idea is we're going to spend £2 or £3 million on a striker. We don't want him to sit on the bench once Adam Ida recaptures his form. So it needed to be a guy who could play out wide as well. We basically wanted Danny Hudson, but a couple of years older, with a little bit more goal-scoring prowess. Weren't able to do it, so we just hope Hudson continues cosplaying as a Premier League footballer like he has been since returning to us on loan. There's Roach playing it. I thought he was playing it across looking for Hudson. In actual fact, he's had a shot, and the goalkeeper has turned it around the post. It's going to be a corner for us. It's Darlington to take. He was very, very close to joining Hudson at Everton in this transfer window. We had an offer of, I think, with instalments, it added up to like £7 million, which he does. I think he has a release clause that we were in danger of being hit, but they never hit it all in one go. They were trying to do it with instalments. They even went above it with instalments, but we've managed to keep Darlington around, which I think I would have been very upset if we'd have lost him, because that would have been the two of our excellent youngsters that we brought in as part of that first transfer window, both disappearing at the same time. And then we'd have needed another Carrasco, and that would have been very hard to find, because believe me, if there'd been a second 18-year-old superstar we could bring in, you can be sure we'd have brought him in. I've got previous for it. There's Alejandro. He's trying to turn his header goalwards, but not really his bread and butter, coming in at the far post for a header, and it does go over the crossbar. It's Darlington looking for the in-swinging corner. Bernard is there, and Bernard's there again. It's Deshaun Bernard between him and O'Brien. Is that his name? How do I not know the name of our good defender? I'm sure it's O'Brien. He's not even on the bench today. I think between them two, they've got about 15 goals this season. Corners are very much still a thing in FM23, boys and girls. It's not even the case of putting them all on the near post. It's pick a post, put your big boys there, aim at that post. There's no more complicated science to it than that. We put our two centre-backs on either the near post or the far post. We've got both instructions loaded. And then depending on where they're stood, that's where we aim the corners. It really is science, but it does work. And we're 1-0 up, thanks to Deshaun Bernard. And Deshaun Bernard, as I've been asked a couple of times in the comment section to call him. I acknowledge that might well be how he says his name. Unfortunately, it's similar to the Shola Shortire situation. We discovered Deshaun Bernard on this channel before he existed. No one else had ever heard of him, and we were calling him Bernard before you knew he was called Bernard. I'm afraid these things stick, and just like Shola Shortire will always be Shola Shortire, Deshaun Bernard will always be Deshaun Bernard, and there's nothing any of us can do about it. It's just, what are you going to do, eh? If the man himself wants to come on the channel and correct me, I might consider changing the way I say his name, possibly. Because he's a big lad and he'll probably batter me. So I probably would if he asked. I'm not going to do it if anyone else asks, though. Right, it is still 1-0 to us. Luton have the ball here, although Woodburn wins the ball back very nicely, and it's with Beck, who plays it back to the man himself, the goal scorer, Bernard, and now Buonanotte looking to play it out to Alejandro. We are looking to make some substitutions as soon as this move is complete. Buonanotte from range. What a goal to make it 2-0. I mean, the strikers are still not providing the goals for us. I'm not quite sure what we've got to do to get attacking players scoring, but who needs it when your midfielders and your defenders are weighing in as many goals as ours are at the moment? And that is an absolute beauty. We don't play him in central midfield very often. I'm wondering if maybe we should, because that was sensational stuff. But we are going to make some changes. Darlington is tired, so Pascozzi can come on for him. We are actually going to put Bernard out at right back because despite earlier rumours to the contrary, he does really well out there. Hudson can go out onto the left-hand side and Ida can come on up front. And then I quite want to have a look at the two new boys. So Carrasco is going to come on in central midfield. Is that the best spot to use him to make a debut? Can he play as a Mazzala? Not really. I mean, he might actually be better in the Whiteman position. He can't really tackle. It's something we'll teach him to do over time, but let's just get him in there, playing in a role that he's comfortable playing in, and Thierry Small can come on as well. That's the two new boys coming on to make debuts. And hopefully come on and look good. That's what we're hoping for. Here's Bernard on the right-hand side, looking for the cross. Ida is lurking in the middle. It falls to Danny Hudson, and that was poor from him. He for a moment there, he had an open goal, and rather than just drilling it into the open goal, he's tried to be fancy and float it across where the goalkeeper was into the far corner, and he gave the goalkeeper time to stand up and just pluck it out of the air. It was very silly. What a silly boy. All right, let's make our final change. We've got both Chong and Villagra sat there on the bench. Hudson can come off. Chong can come on. That's an easy change to make. Hudson back to the Danny Hudson we all know and love in today's match after looking absolutely world-beating in his first couple of matches after his big sale went through. Clearly, he feels that he doesn't need to show off to impress the Everton fans anymore. He's done it in his first couple of matches. He knows they're not watching anymore. He'll worry about playing well when he actually gets to Everton in the summer. That is going to lead to an interesting final 5 minutes or so. Luton have a goal back. I think that's their first shot on target in the match so far, which is doubly frustrating. Bernard is beaten. Is that Carrasco? No, that's Alejandro tracking back there. I don't think that's probably Carrasco there. Who, you could argue could have tracked that run, but we're not going to pick on our 18-year-old. He's going to be a superstar. They don't need to play well all the time. There he is. There's Carrasco. Do a pass. That's what he's there for. Pulling all the strings at the base of the midfield. Buonanotte with a poor pass, but Carrasco plays out to Thierry Small. A first chance for Thierry Small to show us what he's got in his locker as he tries to lock down this left-back position for next season. Chong playing it back to Small. Drills it across to Buonanotte. It was good work from Small. Rather than hitting the cross, he's just played it over to the guy who was in space, and this is a worrying moment because it's a free kick in a position free kicks are often scored from, and that is really annoying. We were 2-0 up and comfortable, and we've done the exact same mistake that I've done so many times before. Too many substitutions. Fiddled with the team too much. Wanted to have a look at the new players. Probably didn't need to make 4 substitutions in one go. We've just opened the door up for Luton, and frustratingly, they have grabbed the point, and it takes us off the top of the championship. QPR usurping us. That's not quite how that match was supposed to go. We're going to make ourselves feel better by going to beat Huddersfield. Well, it's only been a couple of days, so many changes to get us ready for the Huddersfield game. Nichols, of course, stays in goal, but Small comes in for his first start at left-back with Schaefer and Bernard. The centre-backs, Fredericks at right-back. Harvey White at the base of the midfield with Villagra and Roach ahead of him. Woodburn on the left. Buonanotte moving out of central midfield onto the right-hand side. And Adam Ida, of course, returning up front. Woodburn can do 75 minutes. If you're wondering where Sunjic is, he's injured at the moment or just recovering from injury. That's why he's not been involved just lately. Danny Hudson going to just drop out entirely after that performance in the last match and give some opportunities for some of these other boys to show that they're going to be able to do some appropriate levels of football for us. I am looking for big things from Thierry Small today at left back. It's an area that has been a little bit of a problem for us, and hopefully he can solve that problem by coming in and performing really well. I mean, there's nothing complicated about it. If he comes in and does really well, then I'll be happy. That's why that, boys and girls, is why we signed him. We'd quite like Adam Eder to start scoring goals again today as well. QPR, are they losing or are they not playing? Oh, QPR with a 5:15 kickoff. That's why we move above them again as things stand. Of course, they do have that game in hand that they play later today. So it is pretty important that we pick up a win here. I mean, I was thinking 2 home games in this episode. I was expecting 6 points. The form we've been in, 6 points, I think, was a reasonable expectation. I'll be very frustrated if we don't end up with at least 4 after that collapse against Luton. If we're now not able to beat Huddersfield, I'm going to start to get a little bit nervy as we head into the final, 10 or 12 games of the season. I forget exactly how many it is. Bernard turns, looks up, plays it out to Fredericks, who is still playing regularly this season. Him and Darlington kind of sharing the role at right back, certainly since the departure of Brad Potts. And Buonanotte with a lovely pass. Adam Eder gets there before the goalkeeper and finally is back on the score sheet. And it's a proper poacher's goal. Lovely work from Adam Eder. It's a great pass from Buonanotte. I really do enjoy the way he plays. And this is great centre-forward play from Adam Eder. Beats the defender for pace, beats the goalkeeper for pace, gets there with the header to push it past the goalkeeper. It's 1-0 to Preston. Adam Eder's back. All is right with the world. Lovely old stuff. And we are now back properly at the top of the championship, as we're supposed to be. Bernard, heads clear. But that is, I mean, was that Nichols or the cross? I think that's come back off the crossbar. It has. It's a goal kick, but that was a lovely effort from a long, long way out, which luckily the post managed to, or the crossbar managed to keep away from our goal. Villagra in midfield. He was the only one, by the way, of the players here on loan that my inquiry wasn't just completely dismissed by the parent club, but Spurs wanted £4.7 million, and I got the warning that he wouldn't get a work permit. So all of these loan players, I think it's pretty unlikely we're going to have any of them here next year, regardless of what league we're in. And certainly for Buonanotte in particular, the way he's played in this episode, that's going to be very sad because he is having a wonderful little spell at the moment. He's grabbed a goal and an assist in this game. He was excellent in the previous game as well, playing in multiple different positions as well. 2 very good goals. And yeah, that guy, he's quite good. Let's make the most of him while we've still got him. Of course, getting promoted to the Premier League, if it were to happen, does potentially change things when it comes to potential signings, because we become a much more attractive prospect to some of these players, and fees in the £4 or £5 million mark don't necessarily scare you as much when you're a Premier League team as they do when you're a team that just avoided relegation to League One, like we are at the moment. Right, Schaefer playing it forward to Roach. If I could get any of them, I'd probably get him. He's 25. I feel like Watford could probably let him go because he's never played for him. And he's great and can play in multiple positions. Buonanotte we're not going to get. Alejandro we're not going to get. They're both young, upcoming players with bags of potential. Roach and Villagra, both 25, both realistic signings for us, I think. But just got to convince both the Department of Work and Pensions when it comes to Villagra and Watford Football Club when it comes to Roach that they should both be permanent Preston players next season. Buonanotte looking for the ball forward to Eder, and Eder gets there ahead of the goalkeeper again, and this time thunders it into the crossbar. But that ball over the top for Eder to chase is causing all kinds of problems today. The Huddersfield defence don't know how to deal with it. There's too much of a gap between the defence and the goalkeeper, and Adam Eder is having a lovely time living in that gap. Buonanotte with another opportunity for another stunning goal, but this time the goalkeeper just gets a part of his body in the way and manages to deflect it over for a corner. It's going to be White to take the corner. He floats it over, looking for that near post where Chong, amongst others, was lurking, but not able to get any kind of connection on it. And now in a very similar situation to what we saw in the Luton game, we're approaching 70 minutes. We're 2-0 up. Huddersfield have barely had a shot. This is all very familiar. This is where I have to avoid completely ballsing it up from here. Right, we are going to get Carrasco on again because I want to have a look at him. But I think we'll just bring him on as the Mazzala today rather than playing him in an important defensive role. Thierry Small has had his 70 minutes. He's still not match fit, so he can come off as well. And Beck can come on for him. So not 4 substitutions in 70 minutes this time, just the 2. Hopefully, that should be enough for us to just keep things ticking over nicely. It was around this point against Luton that we conceded the first one, and it all went wrong from there. Fredericks on the right-hand side plays it back to Bernard, who gives it to White, back to Bernard again, and now Schaefer forward to Carrasco, turns, and I mean, that's what we've signed him to do. Lovely vision and passing from Carrasco. Chong with the cross. Fredericks is there, nods down to Buonanotte. It's Fredericks again, and Ryan Fredericks has his first goal of the season. I've been here over a year now, and I've spent all of that time trying to get rid of Ryan Fredericks. He's nearly as old as I am, and none of it seems to matter. He just consistently plays really well. He's ideally suited to play as a wing-back in a Kev system, because I love a really attacking wing-back, and having a winger playing there is, I mean, it is fun. I just wish he was 10 years younger. Right, Ida is tiring, so he can come off. We don't have anyone else who can play centre forward anywhere, which is not ideal. I think, see, this is where it all goes wrong. Chong potentially can go up front. Chong is still on the pitch. Why does it look like he's not on the pitch? He came on, didn't he? Right, Chong's going to go up front, and we're going to put Buonanotte that side, and Alejandro's going to come on. And then for the final change, Darlington comes on for Fredericks. Just fitness, just keep the energy in the fullback positions. I've never tried Chong at centre forward before, but I think, according to the squad planner, he is the second best centre forward we've got at the club. So we'll see. At 3-0 up, surely we can't mess it up from here. Carrasco misses the header, though, and Huddersfield are in, but Nichols is there to make it save. We've just extended his contract. He was only here on a 1-year deal, but he's done so well since arriving. We have extended his contract for another year. He is 35 years old now, so he's definitely not a long-term solution for us in goal. But we keep missing out on other options, James Trafford being the most recent one that we've tried to bring in. And now the Huddersfield comeback begins. Hopefully we still have enough of a goal cushion. If we throw points away again here after being so far ahead, I'm just never going to make substitutions again. We're just going to have to accept that every player has to play a full 90, and that's that. We haven't dropped points, though. 4 points. We wanted 6, but 4 will do. We're still top of the championship, and that's hopefully where we remain come the end of the season. We're 9 points clear of 3rd place, which is probably a much more important statistic. We don't need to win the league. We'd just quite like to get promoted now. There's 13 games remaining. It's getting exciting. All right. Have we got to play QPR, Sheffield United, Sunderland, any of these before the end of the season? Okay. We've got Sunderland there. We're not going to come back that soon, though. We'll come back somewhere in here, play a couple more matches in the new year, and hopefully go to the Premier League. That's going to be awesome. If you have enjoyed that, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for me. Subscribe to the channel for daily Football Manager videos. There will be weekend videos coming back in the new year. So it is daily. I'm still averaging more than 1 a day, even though we've not done weekends for a while. Enjoy the new year festivities and all those shenanigans. Thank you very much for watching.